LUKA Doncic's Triple Double of 43 points, 17 rebounds, and 13 assists yesterday in overtime against the Clippers, man, that was a historic performance. Like, I'm not talking about just one of the best games this season. I'm talking about one of the greatest performances we've ever seen in NBA history. And a 21-year-old put it on last night. Listen, what an amazing show. And the main thing that really made it so special was that this clutch performance that this young kid had was on Kobe Bryant's birthday. Kobe has so many clutch moments that he's had. And for Luka, the connection that him and Kobe had before Kobe's passing, they had a solid little connection there. And for Luka to come out and put out this kind of performance in a almost must-win situation to keep the Mavs' hopes alive, man, that's big-time ball. That's big-time ball. And so to be able to see Luka kind of tap into his own Mamba mentality, to kind of dig deep despite the Mavs being shorthanded, and to come up with a performance of that level against that competition, we're talking about potential Hall of Fame coach in Doc Rivers. You're talking about a Hall of Famer in Kawhi Leonard, All-Star Paul George. I mean, the Clippers have been lauded as one of the deepest teams and some of the favorites to win the championship. Luka doesn't care, man. He does not care about the storylines. He does not care about your script or what you believe, how it should go. This one wants to play, that one doesn't want to come to play, this person's injured. He does not care. Step on the court, lace him up. He's been doing this since he was 16, and he showed yesterday. He's not only just one of the greatest European players of all time, he's one of the greatest players in the game today, regardless of age, regardless of experience. He's showing that. So in this journey, I'm going to break down the game between the Clippers and the Mavs, an overtime classic. We're going to break that down, but I'm also going to dig a little deeper into some of the problems that I see from the Clippers, some of the execution and coaching that I'm seeing from the Clippers, and we're going to then finish this thing up. So make sure you stick around to the end, because we're going to finish this thing up with a prediction, an updated prediction. Now the series is tied 2-2. This is basically a 3-game series. So I'm going to predict who's going to win Game 5, as well as who's going to wind up winning the series. So make sure that you stick around. But listen, this thing is heating up. And the fact that I love that on Kobe's birthday, Luka performed like that, I mean, I gotta give a little quick tribute to Kobe and just kind of go back to see some of the clutch performances that he had. Or, you know, like I said, today's 8/24. And on 8/24, this is the official Kobe Bryant day. As you can see, I got the Kobe shirt on. So we gotta give a little mini tribute to Kobe. But listen, this is Luka's day as well. He put on a performance out of this world last night. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Are you ready?
Welcome back to Journey of a Ballaholic, the best talk show for basketball addicts. I'm your host, General Hannibal X. Now, if you're new on this channel here, you're going to be getting my passionate and in-depth analysis on the hottest NBA and college basketball topics. Listen, I'm a ballaholic, absolutely addicted to basketball. And just like everybody, I have my own opinion. But if you like opinions that are backed by facts, go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, but also be sure that you tap that bell notification so that you'll be updated whenever I drop new videos, which is every Monday and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Man, what else can you truly say about the performance that we saw from Luka Doncic? I mean, just when you think this young kid has reached the level that really is kind of unexpected, he takes it to another level. Remember, Game 1 of this series, Luka became the highest scoring debut in a playoff history with this 42-point performance against the Clippers. Dropped 42 in Game 1. Game 2, it came out 28 minutes, 28 points. Efficient as you can get. Game 3, he had a little ankle injury, right? Suffered bad ankle injury. Had to wind up leaving the game and did not return. So, what was he going to follow up after coming in kind of hobbled from that Game 3? How was he going to follow that up in a Game 4, which, like I say, to me, no game is a must-win unless it's elimination, but that's the game you don't want to go down 3-1 to the Clippers. Luka performed, man. Luka absolutely performed. A 40-point triple-double in the playoffs. First of all, understand this. Russell Westbrook is the only player in NBA history to have a 40-point triple-double, and that was in the regular season, back in 2017. He's the only player to do that. And we're talking about Luka being the only player in the playoffs to ever put up a 40-point triple-double. in a big time game against big time competition. This wasn't some off rans. This wasn't some some low seed and the Dallas Mavericks was some big favorite team in this. They were the underdogs. Not only were they the underdogs, the Dallas Mavericks were underhanded. Now listen, I'm gonna get to that because as we know, the number 2 man for Dallas is Kristaps, he didn't play. Kristaps did not play, and I'm gonna touch on that. But right now, we gotta really pay some respect to Luka for what he did. Listen, think about this. Luka Doncic became just the fifth player in NBA history to put up a 40-point game as well as hit a buzzer beater. Now listen to these names. Now remember, he's only the 5th player to do this. So the other 4 players are Michael Jordan, the GOAT, LeBron James, who a lot of people say is in the GOAT conversation, Kawhi Leonard, and we remember his clutch shot that he did, and then Dame Dollar. Dame time. That's it. It's Jordan, LeBron, Kawhi, Dame, and now you can add Luka Doncic to that list. And he's just 21 years old. He hasn't even reached his prime. This young kid has not even gotten his man strength yet. He's 21. But he's crafty. He's got a high basketball IQ. And if you don't execute properly on defense, he's going to burn you every single time. Right now, Luka Doncic is living in the paint. He's living at the free throw line. And the Clippers, who've been lauded once again as one of the best defensive teams in the league, who are supposed to have 2 top two-way players in the game, 2 of the best perimeter defenders in the game, they have no answer for him. And I'm going to get to that defense that the Clippers that I'm seeing from them because I don't like it. I do not like the defense that I'm seeing from the Clippers. But this truly is about Luka. I mean, think about this. Luka not only came off the ankle injury, right? Luka also was dealing with, some choice words that Montrezl Harrell decided to use to kind of denigrate Luka Doncic. And before the game, I give credit to Montrezl Harrell for coming over and kind of squashing that. But Luka didn't allow that to ruffle his feathers. Luka came out with a chip on the shoulder as he's been playing with all. Listen, he has not backed down from the physical play that the Clippers are trying to use. Whether it's Marcus Morris, whether it's Kawhi, Paul George, Montrezl Harrell, he's not backing down from the physical play that the Clippers are using. And I said at the beginning of this series, before it started, remember I told you, the one thing that could backfire on the Clippers was their aggressive style defense. That's where they have been a top 5 defense for the majority of the season, was being aggressive, playing the passing lanes, pushing up on defenders, and I thought that could backfire specifically against Luka, who's truly crafty. He's a guy who uses a lot of hesitation, a lot of Euro steps, a lot of head fakes, and he gets the defense, he plays angles extremely well. And I think Luka right now is taking advantage of an aggressive defense that's out of position. They're late on rotation. This is one of the biggest things that the Clippers have lacked is that chemistry and continuity. A lot of times people think that chemistry and continuity is just about offense. It's just about the timing of, plays or pick and roll. Chemistry and continuity a lot of times shows up more so on the defensive end, because on defense, you have to move as a unit. 5 men got to move together to play exceptional team defense. And especially when you don't have that legitimate rim protector, that anchor, you don't have a Rudy Gobert, you don't have a Hassan Whiteside or Anthony Davis or Giannis down there man in the paint. So you gotta be legit and tight on that perimeter. Now granted, Patrick Beverley didn't play. Once again, he's still nursing this calf injury I believe he has. But that's no excuse. That is absolutely no excuse. And one of the biggest issues that I have with the Clippers, where's Paul George at, man? Where is PG-13? Listen, I've heard all season that he's one of the best two-way players in the game. I've heard all season that he's a superstar. I've heard all season he's going to be the number 2 on a championship team. I haven't bought into any of that. I don't think he's a superstar. I don't think he can be a number 2 on a championship team. But we're going to get to that. Paul George has seemingly gotten worse with every single game since the playoffs started. First game, give him credit, 27 points. I think he was 10 for 22 from the field. He came out and played really good in game 1. Game 2, 14 points. I think he was 4 for 17. Game 3, he turned around with a 3 for 16 performance with only 11 points. And then last night we see him with 9 points. 9 points. 9 more than I scored. And he played 45 minutes, 3 for 14 from the field. That's not going to cut it when you are supposed to be a superstar. I think Paul George is a bona fide all-star. Bona fide. I think Paul George is a legit two-way player. I think Paul George has elite talent. But one thing about Paul George is that I think he's allowing his missed shots to get into his head and affect his defense. Doc Rivers called him out. Listen, I got some criticism coming for Doc, but I got to give him credit. He called those boys out from an emotional weakness standpoint. When your coach is questioning your emotional toughness, oh man, that's not a good look. That's not a good look for a team that has championship aspirations. We're not talking about the Brooklyn Nets or the Orlando Magic. We're talking about the LA Clippers, who are many teams' favorite to win the championship, and it's 2-2 to the 7th seed. Not only 2-2 to the 7th seed, keep this in mind. Game 1, listen, we never will know, but game 1, I feel like the Dallas Mavericks would have won that game had the refs not cheated them by ejecting Kristaps Porzingis. Call it what you want, I'll call a spade a spade. The refs cheated the Mavs out of game 1. Game 2, we saw the Mavs lead from start to finish. Good win. Really good win for the Mavs. Game 3, the Clippers came back with a much better defensive intensity. I give them credit there. Much better defensive intensity. And they came out ready to play, and they kind of, got under Luka's skin a little bit. He didn't have a big game, but you remember, he was almost at a triple double before he got injured. I think he was at like 9 rebounds, 9 assists before the injury. And honestly, I believe if he doesn't get injured, I actually think the Mavs actually probably would have won that game. But looking at what happened with game 4, Luka taking over when Kristaps Porzingis, the man who I've gotta bomb out right now. There's no way in the world your number 1 player, your young 21-year-old superstar, is playing on a bum ankle and without question decides he's gonna play. Then you are up or moving around and shooting around. Listen, I turn around for 1 second, come back, and all of a sudden I hear Kristaps is out of the game for a knee sore. Listen, this is the playoffs. This is where stars are made, champions are made. This is the playoffs, and you're sitting there for knee soreness while your best player, you're leaving him hanging in the trenches. He's playing with a sore ankle. Like, come on. This is when you're supposed to man up. It's time for Kristaps to grow a pair and step his game up. Game 5, you got to be out there, and Game 5, Kristaps has to bring it. Listen, I give him credit. I'm not going to knock him too much because in the games that he's played, he's actually played very well. 3 games he's played. The first one, as we know, he was playing solid. They kicked him out of the game. Totally put that on the refs. Game 2 and Game 3, Kristaps was averaging 28 points and 10 rebounds. Listen, I said before the series, for Dallas to have any chance in this game or in this series, Kristaps had to average 27 and 12 is what I said. He's at 28 and 10. I give him a lot of credit. Game 5, he's got to bring it. They have no answer. They have no answer for Kristaps. I don't care about Zubac. I don't care about Montrezl Harrell, Marcus Morris. None of those guys can stop that 7'2" Slovenian or Latvian unicorn. They can't stop him. So he's got to take over. Luka is showing you game in and game out. He's a gamer. He's gonna bring it. He's gonna bring it. The Clippers have no answer for him. So if Luka can get that help from his co-star, this Mavs team is scary, man. Because you gotta give the young guys credit, the role players credit. Luka would not have won this game without getting contributions from the others. The others are truly stepping up. You gotta tip your hat to Trey Burke. 20-something points. I mean, listen, that's big time. That's unexpected points when he's been playing good the entire series. Seth Curry is a sniper. I mean, the Curry name just is AKA sniper. That's basically what Curry means, a sniper. Tim Hardaway Jr. Gotta love Boban. He was my X factor for the Dallas Mavericks coming into the series, and he's playing great in limited minutes. Listen, when you're that tall, 7'4", even Zubac can't guard him. Like, that's just the reality. You just can't guard somebody who's that tall. So I love the contributions that I'm seeing from these extra guys. But if they're gonna win this, because basically this is a 3-game series. If the Dallas Mavericks are gonna win this, Kristaps has to be ready for Game 5, and he's got to play like he played in Game 2 and Game 3. Now, on the other side, if the Clippers are going to win this thing, the Clippers right now have to do some soul searching, right? Because when your coach is calling you out, saying, my team on that particular night did not come with the emotional toughness that's needed, and call them verbatim emotionally weak, That's when you got to check your manhood. This is when it matters most. If you're supposed to be out going here to win a championship, you got to step up to the plate. Kawhi Leonard, I love what he's been bringing all series. But let's be honest with you. Kawhi Leonard was known, got his reputation as being an elite defender. He just recently, over the last 3 or 4 years, became an elite offensive player. But he started his career as an elite defender. Why are you ducking and laying on that screen, Kawhi? Why are you ducking and laying under that screen? That wasn't a solid screen set by Boban that just rocked you out of nowhere and took you off of out of that matchup. That wasn't the situation. You went under that screen to switch it, and I get it. That's the coach's decision, which we'll get back to Doc Rivers in a bit. I get that's the coach's decision, but sometimes a superstar can outride a coach's decision. We've seen it happen before. Jordan, the Kobe's, the LeBrons. We've seen it happen before. Kawhi, if you're that guy, you got to call Doc out and say, listen, I got Luke. Everybody else, y'all switch. We saw Nick Nurse do this last year against Steph Curry. He put a box and one on him and said, listen, one person, you're going to guard him. Everybody else play a zone. Kawhi could have easily said, you all switch everything else. I'm not leaving Luka. I don't care if a screen said it's not. You hedge out and we'll make somebody else get the ball. It's less than 4 seconds. Remind you, it's less than 4 seconds left in the game. Where else is the ball going? Where else is the ball going? Besides the one guy who's sitting on 40 points at that moment. He's got a 40-point triple-double. Come on. Now, if you're going to switch everything, right? Because that was the play call. Doc Rivers, first of all, why are you switching everything when there's less than 4 seconds and there's a superstar on the floor who's got 40-point triple-double at that point? Why are you switching? And if you're going to switch, put the personnel on the court that can switch. Why is Reggie Jackson time after time after time guarding Luka Doncic? Listen, that wasn't just a one-off play. There was multiple times where Luka was burning Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson was 6'2", 6'3". Luka's a legit 6'7". And smooth with it. The handle's tight. The step back is in play. Like, don't play with him, Doc. Don't play with him. He's burning you out there. Rick Carlisle's out coaching you. Doc Rivers is getting out coached by Rick Carlisle without question. That's the situation in that moment. And I understand you don't want to have Zubac out there for rim protection. Dallas was kind of going small. They didn't have Chris Stapps in there. Boban wasn't in there. So I understand not having Zubac out there. I understand not having Lou Williams out there, right? He's defensively limited. I understand you don't have Patrick Beverly, so your options are getting limited. But Kawhi, Paul George, Marcus Morris, Montrezl Harrell, those four, along with a Shaman or even a man, so you got to go with that five. You can't have Reggie Jackson in the game because, especially if you're going to switch everything, and you know that Luka has previously burned Reggie Jackson on countless possessions. So I blame Doc Rivers for the coaching strategy. I blame him for the substitute or the lack of substitution. I blame Kawhi Leonard for not bringing that intensity to fight through that screen, to demand, as a superstar, to demand you're going to guard Luka Doncic. I blame those guys. It always starts from the top down. Paul George, I got to put a lot of blame on him. You can't go 3 for 14 to follow up a 3 for 16 game, then followed up a 4 for 17 game. You can't score 9 points when you scored 25 combined points in the 2 games before that. This is championship ball. Remember this, people. The Clippers gave up an arm and a leg to get Paul George. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari, and a house load full of picks. Remember what the Clippers gave up to get Paul George. These are the moments why you go get Paul George for the playoffs. Now they call him Playoff P. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get the playoff aspect of the Playoff P. Like, remember, Paul George has not been out of the first round since 2014. He hasn't been out of the first round since then. He had a superstar, Russell Westbrook. 2 years in a row and couldn't get out the first round. If the Clippers don't win this series, there's some changes need to be made. After year one, some changes need to be made if they don't get out of this first round. I don't care about no bubble. I don't care about Patrick Beverly being hurt. I don't care about a 4-month layoff. I don't want to hear no excuses. If you don't get out the first round against a young, inexperienced playoff team. There's not a lot of experience over there on that. This is not the Dirk Nowitzki, Jason Kidd, Tyson Chandler, Jason Terry, Dallas Mavericks. This is a young team. Kristaps in his first playoffs. Luka in his first playoffs. You got Seth Curry. Okay, he was in the Western Conference Finals last year as a role player, so he's coming with a little experience. But this Dallas Mavericks team does not have the talent, nor do they have the experience to be able to push the Clippers to the brink. Now, before the series started, I picked the Clippers to win in 6. Now, I didn't expect, once again, I did not expect for the refs to cheat in game 1, and yes, they cheated and threw Kristaps out of the game. That was not worthy of 2 ejections. Neither one of those technicals were worthy for this man to be ejected from the game. I also didn't expect Luka Doncic to be this good. I can admit that. So now that we're here at game 5 tomorrow, 2-2, I'm going to be honest with you. In this 3-game series, I don't think any team is going to win 2 straight. I do not see it. They've gone back and forth thus far, and I think that from this point moving forward, the team that wins game 5 is also going to win game 7. Tomorrow is a must win. It's not a true must win unless it's elimination, but tomorrow's a must win. I think for the Clippers, if they're going to win this, they have to do what they're supposed to have been doing all season, and specifically in this series. They got to play some championship level defense. Defense is what we've all heard said that wins championships. Well, in the 2 games that the Dallas Mavericks have won, they're averaging 131 points. In the 2 games that the Dallas Mavericks have lost in the series, they're averaging 116 points. So for the Clippers to win, I think they need to hold the Mavs under 120. That's not going to be an easy task. The Mavericks, they got their hands full. I know that they're not, that they will be ready for this. I don't think that the moment or the pressure will be too big for Luka. I don't know about the rest of the guys, but I know it's not going to be too big for Luka. I know Rick Carlisle's not going to make bad coaching decisions, just kind of, ill-timed decisions. He's a championship coach. So I know this Dallas Mavericks team is going to come in ready, prepared. It's just a matter of can they execute. The offense has not been able to truly be stopped right now. Like, you can make a legitimate argument. Like think about this for a second. Outside of the game 1, which I think we all should agree, that could have and should have gone to Dallas if there wasn't the ejection. And outside of game 3, where Luka Doncic got hurt and had to leave the game, if he doesn't get hurt and if that ejection doesn't happen, we could potentially be having a Dallas Mavericks 4-0 sweep. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but think about that for a second. This could have literally been a 4-0 sweep. So the Clippers got to take it up to another level, and it starts from the top. Doc Rivers got to be better coaching. Kawhi Leonard's got to be better on both ends, because offensively he's playing great, but defensively he's got to be better, and Paul George's got to just show up. Just show up. Game 1 you showed up, you all won. It's more than one game that you need from your number 2 in a series to win a series. So Paul George's got to show up. Lou Williams, he played his best game I think we're going to see all series. 36 points, he was 13 for 20 from the field. I don't think you're going to see Lou Williams have another game like that. That was, first of all, 36 points, that was a season high for a top legitimate 6-man of the year candidate. I don't think he's going to have another game like that. So his best game of the season was basically wasted. Montrezl Harrell's got to give me something. I know he was out of the bubble. He's got to give me something more than what he's giving right now. Who else is going to step up? Listen, the role guys, the others, those are your X factors. Your stars have to be there. The stars got to be there. Kristaps and Luka got to be there. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard got to be there. But who's going to be those role players to step up to take the team to the next level? Listen, my prediction, I went initially with Clippers in 6. I got to go with Clippers in 7 right now. I think that Kawhi Leonard is going to have just a mind-blowing game. Whether that's game 5, whether that's game 6, game 7. I think we're going to see a performance from Kawhi Leonard that's going to be reminiscent of how he kind of closed out the Philadelphia 76ers last year. I think we could possibly see a game like that from Kawhi. I think he's got that in him. But will he get the help? That's what we have to see. I think he will. I think that Paul George should be able to have a bounce-back game. I mean, he's got to... Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I think Kawhi, for the Clippers to win tomorrow night, I think Kawhi needs a 40-point game. I think Paul George needs a 30-point game. Because the Clippers, the Dallas Mavericks, they're going to score. They're going to put up big time points. And unfortunately, even though they say defense wins championships, the Clippers got to figure out how to way just to outscore these guys because they cannot stop them. Luka's not going to allow the Clippers defense to contain him. He's not going to allow it. He plays at his own pace. He plays the angle so well. He can get in, and when the defense comes, he sees it. He knows where you're coming from, and he makes a pass that's on target, on time, that only a few people in the game today or in history could make. And he's making those passes. And these guys are knocking down shots. So my prediction is Clippers in 7, but I think that is all going to be relegated on the Clippers winning this next game. If the Dallas Mavericks win this next one, the Clippers are done. I do not see them winning Game 6 and Game 7. If you haven't won 2 games in a row through the first 5, I don't see you winning 2 in the last 2. So what do you think? Who do you think is going to win this series now that it's tied 2-2? Let me know in the comment section below. Listen, if you missed my video where I broke down why the Dallas Mavericks could be the sleeper team, the dark horse team in the Western Conference, go ahead and click the box right here. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you click the logo up top. And then listen, I appreciate you for taking a look at this video. Until next time, make sure that you stay safe in the streets. And listen, we just had another person shot dead in the streets, and so we still are demanding justice for Breonna Taylor, man. Peace.